Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey.
Hello.
And the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
What up, now?
And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. Hello, everyone. Hello, chat. Hope you're having a good Tuesday, and you have a good week so far, and a good week ahead of you. It's been a relatively laid-back day for me, but then my phone beeps at me, because always it does, to tell me that everything's fine, right? There's no reason for me to have to mute myself and go off somewhere. No, there isn't. Yay! But with that, Satsu, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Nothing good or bad to report. Just a day.
Your day was Switzerland.
There you go.
All right. Monkey, how are you?
I'm alive. That's something, and I'm happy. So that's another thing. How you doing, Scribbles?
I was wondering, is your beard going to be Mennonite or Amish?
Oh, it's gonna be Amish.
Okay. And if you don't know what that's all about, guys, you had to be there for it before the show, and you weren't, so you don't get to know.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people, and Lawton. Hello, Kyle. As for myself, it was another day where I could get all my work done, and I could, quote unquote, leave early because the people that were still on vacation were still on vacation, and consequently I had not as much to do as I would on a regular day, which was fine by me. Then I went for a long walk, got some fresh air and some exercise, did some grocery shopping, came back and was a lazy bum for most of the day. And well, there you go. That was my day. And here I am. Rock me like a hurricane. Hello, tall person. Thank you so much. Happy American Beer Day, everybody. Thank you, tall person. I don't drink beer, but I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah, if you drink it, go have one. Happy Beer Day.
Drink responsibly. That's the message from the Lords of the Night. And only if you're of age, unless you can make sure you don't get caught. But I'm not encouraging that. That's a joke. Mostly. Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and I can see that many of you haven't, because I mean, why make assumptions, right? Maybe we'll suck for 2 hours. Who knows? And please share our stuff. Share it far, wide, sideways, and diagonally. If there is a content creator out there on the intertubes that you enjoy, let people know that you do, because more often than not, the platforms on which they exist will not do so for them, which is unfortunate, but just reality. Thank you, Snubbirth. Scribe. Carol Danvers is immune to Ghost Rider's pen and stare. It's officially canon now. How does that make you feel? Yeah, if science defeats magic entirely in the Marvel Universe, sometimes that makes sense. But she's immune to his pen and stare. Yeah, somehow I think, the powers of a supernatural vengeance spirit should probably at least irritate someone who's just been imbued with galactic powers or cosmic powers. I think those two things shouldn't necessarily cancel each other out. But thank you, William Savage, for the Dogcat Fox. Hiya, Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox. And thank you, Bacall, the Driving Ant Man, for the communistic thumbs up. Appreciate it. Let's see. Slovenly Gulf City American. Scribe, if you could suck for 2 hours, I would more than like you.
Well,
Well,
you're gonna get sensitive.
yeah. I've got a Hoover in the closet somewhere. Anyway, moving on to things that suck. How about Nexium? You remember Nexium?
Yes.
They're the sex cult, right?
Yes, the branding sex cult, Lois and Clark, Smallville, whatever girl. Yeah. Well, the Nexium founder has been sentenced. Can you guess for how many years? Satsu.
1.
Okay, Monkey.
What's up?
Can you guess how many years he's been sentenced to for his crimes?
Oh, I'm gonna say 30.
120 years.
Aha. We were close.
Thank you, Snubberth. Oh, the best part, Scribe. It wasn't science. It was her half-Cree heritage of, quote, paying penance for existing. That's not how the penance stare works. Or at least that's not how the penance stare has worked in the past for most of forever. The penance stare conjures up your greatest sins and makes you relive the pain of those you've inflicted pain upon in some way, shape, or form. It's the ultimate guilt trip. That's what the penance stare is. And if you've done some really, really horrible things to people, you feel really, really bad.
But that wouldn't apply to her, right? Because she's perfect. Remember, there's
practically perfect in every way. Yeah, she's Mary Poppins. Keith Rainier, founder of the self-help company Nexium, has been sentenced to 120 years in prison. U.S. District Judge Nicholas Garufus read the sentence in Brooklyn Federal Court Tuesday after more than a dozen people gave victim impact statements at his sentencing. Thank you, James Colley. 69 years would be more appropriate. Grafu, I don't have this judge's name. Garifus said in his decision that the crimes Rainier was convicted of are, quote, cruel, perverse, and extremely serious. Despite everything that has happened and despite the countless victims who have given voice to their great pain, Mr. Rainier remains unmoved. Indeed, he maintains his innocence, Garifus said. To him, the brave victims who have spoken out about the abuse suffered at his hands, including those who spoke today, are liars, unquote. Rainier, 60, was convicted in 2019 by a jury in Brooklyn Federal Court of counts including racketeering, sex trafficking, sexual exploitation of a child, and human trafficking. Quote, Keith Rainier will not be able to victimize people anymore after today's sentence, and we're very grateful for that, said acting U.S. Attorney for Eastern District of New York, Seth Ducharme. Quote, it struck me in listening to the victims that Rainier really twisted people's trust and their need to find some meaning and hope in their lives in just the most insidious and devious ways, unquote. Well, cult leaders have a tendency to do that.
It's kind of what they do, right?
That's how they make their money. That's their bread and butter. Thank you, Bacalo. How the fuck is Marvel more powerful than Ghost Rider? I don't know. I mean, one is a cosmically imbued human being, and the other is possessed of a demon of vengeance from the supernatural world. I mean, Zarathos and everything. So I don't know. I mean, admittedly, like I say, in the Marvel universe, science can counter magic depending on the circumstances, but that seems a little bit off to me. Let's see. 15 of Rainier's victims either spoke or had statements read at his sentencing in Brooklyn Federal Court. John Marzulli, a spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Eastern New York, said. One of those victims was the 15-year-old girl at the center of the sexual exploitation of a child charge that Rainier was convicted of. A redacted copy of her victim impact statement was posted to the court record, in which she said she was 15 and he was 45 when they began to have sex, and he took nude photos of her. Ooh. Okay, I'm just going to stop there. Guy's going away forever. Good riddance. Goodbye. What about his co-conspirators? Is there anything more about that? This is a long article. Yeah, well, if they do, it's buried in here somewhere. Couldn't tell you. Thank you, tall person. While we are on the subject of dumb comics, did you see Batgirl joining Antifa or Tony Stark getting talked down to whilst recovering? The Tony Stark one I saw. I've got that for internet fucketry later. The only I didn't see the Batgirl one. I saw the promotional photos for the new Batwoman coming to the TV show. They obviously got a whole bunch of flack for just putting her in the exact same costume as the First Lady. And so now the new photos, instead of the red wig, which was sort of like part of the signature of the character's disguise / costume, now she just has her natural hair sticking out. And it doesn't look all that much better. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. So yeah, 120 years. Goodbye.
And good. He's a shitbag, and yeah, what a dick.
Let's see. Well, the other big news was a new round of riots over a debatable video, supposedly, of police firing upon someone wielding a knife. Depending on whose account you read or filtered version, the person that was shot was just minding their own business and was murdered in front of their family. But then if you actually watch the video, you see the cops trying to get away from this person over and over again and backing away around a car and telling him to put the knife down. And then he starts walking towards them with the knife after 30, 40 seconds or something of them trying to tell him to put the knife down. And there you go, play stupid games. But that was enough apparently to start a new round of riots and destruction and looting in Philadelphia. Philadelphia prepares for possible new protests after police shot and killed a black man wielding a knife. Racial tensions in Philadelphia have officials preparing for another night of unrest after officers shot and killed a black man who was holding a knife in an encounter the police commissioner and mayor say raises questions. 30 officers were injured during protests in the aftermath of the shooting. Yeah. I'm curious to know what questions they have, because I've watched the video. Now, granted, I'm not an expert in police procedure, but these cops were doing everything within reason to back away from this guy, and at least 3 or 4 times, at least on the video that I saw, you can hear them telling him, drop the knife, drop the knife. So I'm not quite sure what the questions are. Monday's shooting of 27-year-old Walter Wallace Jr., caught on cell phone video, draws fresh attention to fatal use of force by police following months of protests over how officers treat black people. The shooting and violent protests also sharpened the focus on the swing state of Pennsylvania a week before the presidential election. Anticipating further unrest, state and city officials requested help from the Pennsylvania National Guard, which will be mobilizing several hundred members, according to spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Keith Hickox. Mayor Jim Kenney said the video of the shooting, quote, presents difficult questions that must be answered, unquote. Like? Outrage over the shooting in West Philadelphia, born and raised. Oh, sorry, I couldn't help myself. Okay, never mind. Set off protests by demonstrators wanting to know why less than lethal force wasn't used. The officers were not equipped with tasers, because trying to aim at somebody who's coming at you with a knife with a taser is not a good trade-off.
It's actually rather stupid.
It is. Tasers will not necessarily drop them, and the momentum of them coming at you might be enough to have the knife go straight into your chest. But that aside, they didn't have the tasers, so it's kind of a moot point. Why were they not equipped with them? Probably because they're relatively useless in most situations. The night saw violence and looting, leading to dozens of arrests and the officers' injuries, most the result of thrown objects. One officer was struck by a pickup. Was the pickup a thrown object? And taken to a hospital with a broken leg and other injuries. Businesses were looted, and 5 police vehicles and 1 fire vehicle were vandalized, police said. Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw, that's a great name, Danielle Outlaw, said 91 people were arrested during unrest, including 11 on charges of assaulting police and 76 for burglary. I've seen a couple of videos, security videos of stores being just absolutely ransacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really... That's a great reaction to a police shooting. That makes all the sense in the world.
That's right. And it's kind of sad that, and I know this doesn't apply to everybody, but there is unfortunately a ton of people out there who get excited whenever something like this happens because they know they can go steal shit. Like, that's the reason. They're like, oh, fuck yeah, another person died. I've been waiting to hit up this Walmart over here. And it sounds fucked up, but there are some people out there who truly think like that, and it's pretty fucked up. But
Outlaw said that police anticipate the possibility of more unrest later Tuesday and have requested aid from surrounding counties and the state. Acting Commerce Director Sylvie Gallier Howard said the city has not asked businesses to close early, though some have gotten in touch and said they are choosing to do so voluntarily. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office is investigating the shooting jointly with the police unit tasked with investigating officer-involved shootings. District Attorney Larry Krasner said he had watched the cell phone video and what he saw was concerning. Quote, I would have to agree with both the police commissioner and the mayor that it presents some very serious questions that need to be answered, unquote.
Okay. What fucking video did they watch?
I mean, again, I don't know what happened just before the video goes live, obviously. Because the videos, as far as I know, there's only the one video. Maybe there's others. Maybe there's something else that's going to come. From what I saw, all you saw was the officers backing away from the guy in like a half circle around this car as he keeps approaching and stalking towards them with a knife in his hand.
Yeah.
And then finally, and I counted at least 3, maybe 4, because it's hard to hear in one point, times where they're telling him, put the knife down. Sir, put the knife down, something like that. And, who knows what was going on before that. They were not looking to kill this guy. They were not looking or desiring to shoot this man for no reason. They were doing everything within reason, so to speak, to try not to do that. But he would not stop, and he kept coming at them. And then at a certain point, he was straight on in front of them, and he was coming forward, and they shot him. And, shoot him in the leg. Like, I don't know.
I didn't see the video, so I didn't really know what was going on. All I know is what I read, and the first thing I read about it was, man was murdered by police. He had a knife, but he wasn't charging them or approaching them at all. They didn't attempt at all to use any non-lethal methods, and the mom was screaming and begging not to kill him because he was mentally, like, there was something wrong with him, whatever. But they did it anyway. That was the way that it was explained when I saw it.
Satsu, I'm throwing the video in our private chat so you can watch it if you want to. Now, I will say, I feel bad talking about this, but there's a moment in that video where I had flashbacks from Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Oh, no.
Because right after he's shot, there's this woman who comes over, and it's almost like, my baby. Woman, hey, that ain't your baby. That's most of what I got out of it, other than this guy got shot because he was moving at cops with a knife. Don't do that. Yeah. This isn't a case of, he was resisting. No. He was going after cops with a fucking knife. And they don't have he's got mental issues gun. They don't have.
The lady's she's literally trying to stop him. She's like holding on to him and trying. Yeah. And he's going after those cops, and they finally put him down.
Yeah. And like I say, if you watch the cops, they are backing away, half circle around that car or whatever, and they're telling him, drop the knife. So I don't know all the details, obviously. I've only seen what I see on the video shows me 2 police officers who are reluctant as hell to pull their triggers, are trying as much as they can. But whether that guy's got mental illness or not, if he's charging at police officers with a knife, his mental state is irrelevant to officer safety and the safety of the public at large.
Well, dude, I'm scrolling through the comments on the video that was shared to me, and like there are way too many comments in here that says, why didn't they just shoot the knife out of his hand?
Oh, Jesus.
This is a fucking movie? This ain't a fucking movie. This is real life.
Real quick, thank you, Caramon Major. He fucked around and found out. Well, the guy may have been completely out of his mind on mental illness. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing's a tragedy regardless because somebody's life was taken. It didn't need to be. For whatever reason, he made some very, very poor decisions that day. And as a result, what happened. But so far as I can tell from the video, I'm not quite sure what else the cops could have done under the circumstances to de-escalate the situation or find a different alternative to what was going on. Again, I don't know what was going on 30 seconds or 10 minutes before the video started. So I don't know if there was some other aspect to how the cops interacted with them ahead of time or something. But what I saw in the end result was they were trying not to hurt this man. So I'm not quite sure. Thank you, Professor Chaos. Cops are no longer allowed to defend themselves. They are guilty of a crime if they don't allow themselves to get harmed, seems to be the new narrative. I mean, in this case, I'm not quite sure what they would have asked the cops to do otherwise. I mean, they didn't have tasers, so it's a moot point to say they should have had tasers. Well, shoulda, coulda, woulda. They didn't. That was it. Guys coming at him with a knife. What's the alternative? Wrestle with him, tackle him, or something? I don't know. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be investigated all to hell. I'm sure those cops' lives are ruined now, and their careers will be tattered regardless of what there was found out about them. And it's going to be another reason for people to hurt other innocent people in their businesses or otherwise because of this. And call me cynical, and you'd be right.
Okay, cynical.
I know. See, I opened the door to that, and I welcomed in what was said. Let's see. In other news, because there is an election coming up, if you don't know, Texas Supreme Court sides with the governor on rule requiring one ballot drop box per county.
Okay.
And now that sounds absolutely ludicrous to me, but because if last I remember, there's a whole lot of counties in Texas, and the counties aren't exactly small little spaces or nothing. But the Texas Supreme Court on Tuesday ruled in favor of Republican Governor Greg Abbott's order to limit mail-in ballot drop box locations to one site per county, a decision that largely affects the Houston and Austin areas, I guess because they're gigantic. The court ruled that Abbott's order, quote, provides Texas voters more ways to vote in the November 3rd election than does the election code, unquote, and that it doesn't, quote, disenfranchise anyone, unquote. Okay. Opponents of Abbott's order had argued it exceeded the governor's authority and also created an unjust burden on voters in larger counties to travel far distances to drop off their ballots. Critics also argued it increases voters' risk of contracting COVID-19. The court did not agree with the plaintiff's argument that the governor's order had exceeded his authority, nor that the order, quote, severely, unquote, burdened voters and their right to vote. Quote, the plaintiffs complained that limiting early hand deliveries of mail-in ballots to one office per county requires more travel time for some voters. But this ignores the other options for casting their ballots that these voters have, the opinion read. It noted that voters can also vote in person for an expanded period of time than usual, drop off their mail-in ballot in a 45-day window before Election Day rather than on November 3rd only, and also mail in their ballots. Oh, okay. The court also argued the risk of mailing the ballot is, quote, small, unquote, and, quote, voters who are worried about it can mail their ballots in plenty of time before Election Day to eliminate the chance of untimely delivery, unquote. I thought it was like this is the only place you can do or the only option, was my understanding the way the headline was written earlier.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, well, Jesus, that sucks. But no, that's not how it is. All right. Well, there you go. Let's see. How about some Supreme Court paranoia?
Oh, please. It's been my bread and butter.
All right. Brett Kavanaugh foreshadows how Supreme Court could disrupt vote counting.
Oh, God.
Brett Kavanaugh foreshadows. Okay. Justice Brett Kavanaugh on Monday night set the battle lines for how the Supreme Court should consider post-election lawsuits that could determine the outcome of the presidential race. As the court rejected a Democratic attempt to allow mail-in votes postmarked by Election Day to be received up to 6 days after the election in Wisconsin, Kavanaugh also suggested that state courts may not have the last word in interpreting state election rules. Did you care to mention the difference between that and the situation in, what was it, Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Yeah, was the state rules versus the local rules or the federal rules? Did you want to do that little distinction there, article writer? No? How they upheld the one and downgraded the other? It's just not as cut and dry as you're making it sound. But anyway, quote, under the U.S. Constitution, the state courts do not have a blank check to rewrite state election laws for federal elections, Kavanaugh wrote in a footnote of his concurring opinion. Yeah. And then what about the other decision? Kavanaugh's language overall mirrors President Donald Trump's rhetoric about calling a winner on election night.
What?
Okay, I'm going to read the quote again. And then I'm going to read our analyst's assessment again. Okay. Quote, under the U.S. Constitution, the state courts do not have a blank check to rewrite state election laws for federal elections, unquote. Kavanaugh's language overall mirrors President Donald Trump's rhetoric about calling a winner on election night.
Where? What?
I have no idea. Onward with the author. Hold on. States that require mail-in ballots to be returned by Election Day, Kavanaugh wrote in his concurring opinion, quote, want to avoid the chaos and suspicions of impropriety that can ensue if thousands of absentee ballots flow in after Election Day and potentially flip the results of an election, unquote. But those announcements are in no way official. They are projections made by national broadcast networks and wire services based on how partial results compare to historical outcomes, not by the states themselves, which typically take weeks before certifying elections. What? Okay.
Okay, this is just somebody who's trying to find a reason to bitch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Republican state legislatures in some states, including Pennsylvania, have blocked efforts to speed up the counting of mail-in ballots on election night. In Pennsylvania, the GOP-led legislature opposed changing policies to allow clerks to begin processing absentee ballots, which have been cast by more Democrats than Republicans there, before November 3rd. That means they'll have to open them and verify voters' eligibility on the day of the election, likely resulting in a slower than usual count that steadily builds in Democrats' favor. Okay, wait a second. How is this any different from 2016? Have the rules changed since 2016?
Not that I'm aware of in any way that would have a major impact anywhere.
Okay, so it wasn't Russia now. It was the election vote counting rules that swung Pennsylvania to Trump.
Apparently.
Well, Russia was the one who changed the rules there.
Russia.
Kavanaugh referenced Bush v. Gore, the court's opinion that decided the 2000 election along partisan and ideological lines, and is still so controversial that it is rarely cited as precedent. He is one of 3 current justices, along with John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, who worked on Bush's side during the legal fight at the time.
Yeah, I've heard this come up. That actually, I believe, came up during her confirmation.
Mm-hmm. So she's going to rig the game for Trump if it comes down to a Supreme Court decision. Is that what we're being told now?
That's the implication, yeah.
Yeah, because John Roberts is such a big fan of Trump, you know. Kavanaugh picked up on the reasoning of then Chief Justice William Rehnquist in a concurrence that only garnered the votes of 2 other justices, the late Justice Antonin Scalia and Justice Clarence Thomas. Quote, the text of Article 2 means that the, quote, clearly expressed intent of the legislature must prevail, unquote, and that a state court may not depart from the state election code enacted by the legislature, Kavanaugh wrote. In the Wisconsin case Monday, Kavanaugh wrote to explain why he agreed with the court's 5-3 majority to block a federal district court's ruling that would have extended the deadline for the receipt of absentee ballots in Wisconsin amidst the pandemic. Kavanaugh said he thought the district court changed the state's rules too close to an election and that courts should defer to state legislatures to address health concerns about COVID-19. He said he thought that Wisconsin's deadline is the same as that of several other states and is, quote, reasonable given the all the circumstances. Given the all the circumstances? I don't know. I don't know if that's misquoting Kavanaugh or if Kavanaugh had a typo. Usually, if that's a typo that the author is aware of, they will put a parentheses, SIC parentheses, to denote that, but they didn't, so I don't know what's going on there. Or you're just a bad journalist. I could believe either way. But then he shifted to the role state courts should play. The court has yet to resolve how far can state courts go to change election rules put in place by state legislatures. The court deadlocked on that issue in a recent 4-4 split out of Pennsylvania without explanation. Well, gosh, if only we'd had a 9th justice there at the time.
Right.
You know, then we wouldn't have decisions that are deadlocked and split and don't actually have a resolution. Okay, well, I don't know that your argument or your complaint really holds a whole lot of water. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how this is the pandemic thing. Everybody can vote ahead of time. Is there a state in the union right now that does not allow early voting in some way, shape, or form? I mean, maybe I'm just ignorant. I don't know.
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Chat, our crack research team, is there a state in the United States that does not allow for early voting and only allows voting on election day in some way, shape, or form? Because I don't know. Deco says Alabama doesn't. Okay, so Alabama does not allow early voting. It has to be on election day. Okay.
Yeah, but they marry their sisters, so. What?
All right.
I didn't do it. They did.
One more real quick, because I want some advice. I need some advice. You know, it's been a very stressful year. It's a particularly stressful time of year in this election cycle. So CNN is going to tell us, cracking under election stress in a pandemic, do this instead. You guys ready for some advice?
Please.
All right. Thank you, Okie Native Scribbles. Didn't you know wanting an amount of judges that can render a verdict on the Supreme Court is Trump supporter talk? I do now, I guess. I don't know. I mean, we should have just waited until the next president comes up and let how many other decisions pop up that would be deadlocked and split and not decided and have everything in limbo until it can be reassessed after the correct justice is put up there or something. This is from Jill Filipovic. I recognize the name. She's a journalist based in New York and author of the book, Okay, Boomer, Let's Talk, How My Generation Got Left Behind. Your generation? Okay. Everything is terrible and nothing is okay. If you're feeling depressed and maxed out too, trust that you are far from alone. And then we have a list, okay? A global pandemic, yes. The Trump administration, yeah. Democratic relief bill, not in Supreme Court, yeah. Okay. Unemployed Americans, okay. Oh, and the wildfires, right, okay. In what is for many Americans a truly terrible year, waking up into Tuesday as COVID-19 rages on and with the hangover of misbegotten Supreme Court confirmation.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Get over yourself. Manages to stand out as particularly awful, with maximum pandemic stress rushing in, maximum stress from the impending election, everything, democracy, our lives, feels at stake. It's enough to make you want to fall apart. So, how to deal? Massive amounts of alcohol. No, sorry, that wasn't her. It's easy to get caught up in endless doom scrolling, to sink into a pit of despair. It's a rational reaction to this moment. No, it's not. When so many of our fellow citizens are dead, sick, or hurting, and when a whole series of basic rights many Americans took for granted are freshly vulnerable. Well, I mean, depending on how things go state to state and lockdowns and such, all right. It's okay not to feel like bucking up, to want to hide under the covers and melt into a sea of misery. Go ahead. Just don't stay too long. But remember, take care of yourself. Listen to doom scrolling reminder lady Karen Ho. Well, now that's an unfortunate name in the current moment. Okay, here's the advice. Stand up and walk. Karen, Karen, last name Ho, H-O. Karen Ho. I don't know who that is, but anyway. Stand up and walk around. Take some deep breaths. Roll out your wrists and wiggle your shoulders. Log out of the apps and that make you anxious, like Candy Crush. Get away from screens a while. Put on your mask and go for a walk outside. Call a loved one. Then do something. There is still time to convert despair into action. You voted, right? Or if you haven't voted, what's your voting plan on Election Day? What's your plan if lines are long? Both presidential campaigns are doing lots of get out the vote work right now, but people are often more likely to vote if someone close to them gives them a nudge. Have you talked to your family members about their voting plan? Okay, I'm done with those.
What? I thought this was advice to feel better.
Yeah, it's like, are you overwhelmed by the election cycle? Get involved in the election cycle. Call your family about the election cycle.
It's kind of weird because it's just like, we're going to help you with this problem by scaring the fuck out of you with rhetoric that'll make you do things that we want you to do, that'll presumably help you out with this problem. And if it doesn't, fuck you. We got our vote.
Thank you, Pincalo. How to deal? Simple. Grow the feck up. Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you just got to say, okay, I got to move on and get on because there's stuff to be done. Everybody's got stuff to do or things they could be doing. It's not easy, and depending on your circumstances, I'm sure it's even more difficult than others, but this too shall pass, as my mother always said. Yeah, I think, isn't that from the Bible or something? I don't know. I just hear that a lot from my mom and things. So
right, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like with Seth Rogen or whatever was like, who the fuck cares about going to the moon or Mars right now? It's like, well, because some people can see ahead of the current crisis and know that life will go on after this. And so, looking to the future instead of dwelling on the present, that kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the wonderful world of MSS News. Guys, if you have news stories you would like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but that's because I'm long-winded. If Twitter will cooperate, there you go. Thank you, Twitter. Let's see. Thank you, Karamon Najir. Fear equals panic equals desperation equals easy to control. That's the general rule, yes. Let's see. Now, where's the one that everybody has been sending me? The story that everyone's been sending. So this one comes from Dragon Mage, but I know there's at least 4 or 5 or 6 people have sent this to me in the last 48 hours, and I appreciate it. I actually saved it for tonight on my night because it's so important to me. Water on the moon could sustain a lunar base.
Oh.
Having dropped tantalizing hints days ago about an exciting new discovery about the moon, the U.S. Space Agency has revealed conclusive evidence of water on our only natural satellite. This, quote, unambiguous detection of molecular water, unquote, will boost NASA's hopes of establishing a lunar base. The aim is to sustain that base by tapping into the moon's natural resources. The findings have been published as 2 papers in the journal Nature Astronomy. Unlike previous detections of water in permanently shadowed parts of lunar craters, scientists have now detected the molecule in sunlit regions of the moon's surface. Speaking during a virtual teleconference, co-author Casey Hannibal, postdoctoral fellow at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland, said, quote, the amount of water is roughly equivalent to a 12-ounce bottle of water in a cubic meter of lunar soil, unquote. Her NASA colleague, Jacob Bleacher, from the agency's Human Exploration Directorate, or the HEAD.
Ah.
I like it. Said researchers still needed to understand the nature of the watery deposits. This would help them determine how accessible they would be for future lunar explorers to use. And while there have previously been signs of water on the lunar surface, these new discoveries suggest it is more abundant than previously thought. Quote, it gives us more options for potential water sources on the moon, said Hannah Sargent, a planetary scientist from the Open University in Milton Keynes, told BBC News. Well, yay. Moonbase, 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 moonbase.
Moonbase.
Also, I should note, I intend at some point, maybe Saturday, there was a TED Talk released today about building a lunar civilization. And I'm so there, girlfriend. Now, I am hoping, fingers crossed, hoping that it is a TED that I just simply enjoy watching with my audience and not have to critique it. I hope there's like no circles on the bingo card. I just want to hear a really cool presentation about lunar civilization. We'll find out, though, on Saturday. That's the plan. So yeah, Moonbase, 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 and Moonbase. Yay, Moonbase.
Hashtag Moonbase.
Hashtag Moonbase. Hashtag Scribe 2020. There's still time left to vote, guys. Scribe Light 2020.
2020.
Write me in. And if not, write me in now. Write me in for 2024. This one comes from Massive Dynamics. What America really needs to do is abolish Congress. Didn't we talk about this last night?
We read the headline, but I picked a different story that they put up. And you said you were interested in this.
Oh, okay, right. Thank you, Saxon Ross. My predictions for the Scribe thumbnail: thrown into the lunar bin. Oh, for the show? No. I already know what I'm going to do for the thumbnail for that show. Oh, it'll be glorious. Speaking of
awesome, you guys.
Did you guys like the thumbnail for tonight's show, chat? I forget who it was that suggested the lunch on a skyscraper thing. But whoever that was, thank you for the idea. It was a bit of a challenge, especially getting Dogcat Fox to fit on that picture behind the rope. That was a little bit of a trick. But I thought it turned out okay. The far right wants to eliminate what it considers the vestigial organs of government, including the education, commerce, and energy departments. The far left wants to abolish ICE, and this article is from February of 2019.
Okay.
I just noticed that as I got through the first paragraph. Thank you, Keldrig. Scrotus 2020, hashtag plunge the swamp, hashtag moonbase. I'm not big on that first one because it sounds disgusting, but the rest of it, sure, that's fine. And at this point, probably want to go for 2024. Let's see. Okay, they're both thinking too small. What America really needs to do, and what might actually receive strong bipartisan support, is to abolish Congress.
Really?
Why?
Who do they know? I need to know what's your circle look like? Strong bipartisan support. Like, yeah, we should get rid of Congress completely. And motherfuckers like, oh, hell yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Like, yeah, I can just see it now. We're going to eliminate our jobs. Abolish Congress. So 1/3 of our 3 branches of government, just take it away. Right. Okay. Why do we have 3 branches of government, by the way? What is the sort of logic behind that technically?
A check on their powers.
Yeah. Okay. So you take Congress away. I'm not quite sure what happens then. Do all the powers of Congress then dissolve to the executive?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you're advocating for effectively an American tyranny.
Yes, they are.
It is so amazing because seemingly their largest fear is Trump having that type of power, yet they're openly advocating for it.
Well, here we go. She actually brings this up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'd say, but you're missing the point that they don't think Trump will get that power. It'll be someone else.
And
right.
Someone else is better.
Sure, you might argue that the legislative branch has critical responsibilities endowed by our sacred Constitution. No, it's not. It's not a might. There's no guesswork there. I would argue that. Congress is an equal branch of government that provides checks and balances on the other branches. Without Congress, you might ask, there's no might. Wouldn't the president have completely free reign to act on his worst authoritarian impulses? But then again, you might also ask, how would that be different from the situation we have now? Are you?
Yeah.
Something very real quick. Thank you, Nicolo. Remember, they think the Galactic Senate is real. Yeah. Go ahead, Satsu.
Fair enough.
I'm glad I didn't pick this article because I would have stopped reading right there. Because that statement alone lets me know that this person has no fucking idea what's really going on. They're just talking out of their ass. They have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, because Congress, as we've seen, the 2 chambers thereof have always and forever gone along with everything the president wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, they might as well not even be there right now, right? Because Trump just does anything he wants to do without opposition all the time.
Yeah, that is literally the narrative they're saying. Trump is able to do anything he wants at any time with no opposition whatsoever. So they're pretty much worthless. That's the narrative here.
Thank you, Okie Native. Hear me out. We elect one person to have all the power and make it hereditary. Then we tithe to them and give them our land. Wow, Okie, that's innovative.
That's an innovative idea. How did you ever come up with that?
Why, just a few days ago, the legislature proved how little interest it has in exercising one of its most fundamental constitutional powers, the power of the purse. Okay, the Constitution gives Congress the authority to appropriate federal dollars. Yes. This is a constitutionally mandated check on the executive branch and the crux of our founding document's separation of powers. Okay, all right. In practice, it means the president cannot decide unilaterally to spend money for a purpose that Congress has rejected. And yet, that is what happened last week.
What?
Congress, this is back to 2019, remember. Thank you, Karaman. Just proof the left wants a caliphate. Well, this lady sure seems like it. Congress has, multiple times now, explicitly denied President Trump's request for billions of dollars for a border wall.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Really, dude? Okay. That we don't need and that most Americans don't want. After months, most Americans don't want, well, that was his campaign platform, and he won the election, and elections have consequences, my dear. Sorry. After months of debate and a pointless shutdown, lawmakers appropriated $1.375 billion for border barriers and not a penny more. Then Trump announced he was declaring a national emergency to commandeer $8 billion for his pet project anyway. Federal lawmakers should have been livid at this power grab. They were.
They were.
Listen to this. Federal lawmakers should have been livid at this power grab. Curiously, many were not.
Many.
How many is many?
More than any amount.
In fact, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, one of the most powerful people in the supposedly powerful branch of government, declared this a splendid outcome. So he agreed with it. And also McConnell's in the Senate, not the House, and the House has the purse strings, so he doesn't really lose anything by saying so. So here's my question to you, fellow taxpayers. If lawmakers are not going to perform their most basic constitutional functions, then what are we paying them a minimum of $174,000 a year to do? Well, represent large swaths of their constituencies, state to state. Presumably give over their entire lives to bettering the lives of their constituents. Now, it's questionable. It is questionable person to person, but
well,
yeah.
The issue is this entire narrative is built off one specific scenario that they just pointed out, which is fascinating because it's one of the same arguments I heard when it came to abolishing the police. Like, well, there was one time the police tried to do a job and they didn't do it that well. So what's the point of the police ever?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's just like, why do we even have them? They shouldn't even exist because one time they didn't do the job right.
Yeah, you're right. It's childish thinking. It really is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like after that first line, I'd have stopped reading this article because I'm just like, you're an idiot. Like there's no reason to fucking entertain this.
Well, I'm curious to know what she suggests as the alternative. And I'm scrolling. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but so it's hard to argue the reforming. Don't believe. Look at the polling. Okay, so she never actually offers up how it would work in the absence of Congress.
Of course not.
Just throw the bums out, she says. Okay, that's her last line of the whole thing. Throw the bums out. Okay. Well, you can vote your conscience the next cycle and vote out your own representative if that is your choice, and that's how it works. So there you go. Moving on. Let's see. Okay, this one comes from Wandering Lisa with a excellent title, full of fun. How the luxury condom business screwed itself. What is a luxury condom?
It's one that feels velvet. It's ribbed for your pleasure.
Is it like gilded or something? Is it not gilded, mind you, gilded in gold or something? High-end status prophylactics. Status prophylactics. Okay. We're supposed to be the next big sex trend. Said who? Even though we don't need them, no one asked for them, and they don't perform any better. This is the first I've ever heard of such a thing.
Yeah.
About a decade ago, condoms started showing up at high-end sex stores that just looked different from anything else on the shelves. Well, I guess I just don't frequent high-end sex stores often enough. While the established brands came in garish colors emblazoned with splashy fonts, because you're going to be wearing it out in public or something, like something made for a high school entrepreneurship contest, these boxes featured striking minimalist design. While the known entities screamed out promises of pleasure and ecstasy with exclamation points aplenty, these newcomers coolly introduced their conscientious consumer credibility with simple statements like, no parabens, no glycerin. They were, in short, the hippest prophylactics on display. Is this a joke?
It sounds stupid.
Thank you, Karaman. A luxury condom is one that actually works.
If you put it on right, most of them work.
I'm at a loss to care about where this is going because luxury condoms. It sounds like an excuse for somebody to put a very, very high price tag on what you could otherwise get at the grocery store for about $10. That's all it sounds like to me.
Does it have the word Supreme written across it?
Well, I'm wondering if it's like, Rolex decided to do a line of condoms or something. Let's see. In 2011, Salon, catching onto these new brands, of course they would, heralded the rise of a burgeoning industry of fancy rubbers. Now, it's no wonder I never heard about it because who the hell pays attention to Salon from 9 years ago? Months later, Naked Condoms started marketing a box of 12 condoms wrapped in foils they said took 3 years to design. Do not invest in Naked Condoms, the company. It takes them 3 years to design a condom wrapper. They charged $56.
I'm so confused right now.
$56 for a box of 12 condoms. I bet the price is so high because it took them 3 years to design the package, and they probably dumped way too much money into that. Meanwhile, a 12-pack of old-fashioned Trojans goes for about $8 on Amazon. Yeah. This is an article about nothing and stupid.
What?
That's it. Nothing and stupid. Okay, this one comes from Frosted Glass. This is one that I'm actually curious to find out because we had this this notion brought up to us on TEDx the other day. How to respond when someone tells you that race is a construct.
Laugh and leave?
Yeah, that was, well, given the fact that the speaker in that TEDx brought up that race is a construct and then proceeded to spend the next 9 minutes telling us how important race was to consider in assessing people. Very interesting. A couple of months ago, I wrote an essay about my experience growing up as a light-skinned black woman in the United States. I wanted to speak honestly about internalized racism, sounds like a personal problem, and how it has manifested throughout my life. My hope was that by turning a critical eye inward and engaging with my flawed journey, still flawed, by the way, I might be able to offer a roadmap for people working through similar issues. It was a tough piece, and I received a wide variety of responses. Some were complimentary. One of the first was from a mother who said she was excited to share the essay with her teenage daughter. That melted me completely. Some responses were questioning. One reader asked how I could side with blackness without reinforcing the same binary value systems I was critiquing. That's a good question, actually. It was a wonderful question that I gave a very brief answer to, which the reader seemed pleased by. I'm planning to write a more comprehensive response soon. Well, I'd love to know what that brief answer was. Then, of course, there were other less productive responses. For the most part, they were personal judgments phrased as inquiries. Example, quote, "Why are you such a bad person?" Unquote. Really? You must have dug real low into the bottom of the barrel for that one. Generally, these responses were such transparent projections that I didn't give them a second glance. Well, at least long enough to type them out again. These people were really asking, quote, "What gives you the right to imply that I'm a bad person?" Unquote. Well, if that's not a bad question, isn't it? The simple answer I had chosen to give it, had I chosen to give it, would have been that this piece wasn't about them at all. Okay, it was about me. If someone gestures to a wound and says, "This hurts," and you respond with, "How is that my fault? Stop attacking me," then a nuanced conversation just isn't on the table. It was easy to skip over those responses. Well, I'd have to see the first article. Were you making assessments about society at large and how you were a victim because of societal expectations or blah, blah, blah? Because if that was the case, then you were projecting evil onto everybody at once. Then I received one that, for whatever reason, I couldn't skip over. One that was so absurd that it warranted several glances. Unfortunately, I decided it also warranted a response. The message from a person we'll call Harold started by asserting that, quote, "Race was an archaic construct which has been dismissed by the scientific community," unquote. So any discussion regarding racism was outdated and irrelevant.
Okay.
That's not usually how I hear it when someone says race is a construct. But anyway, Harold continued to say that I was being racist for talking about race. I guess it depends how you were talking about it. But then they spent several paragraphs passionately asserting that my issue wasn't with institutionalized racism, but with my own flawed character. Well, you just admitted to that up top. So I was just blaming others for my bad decisions and refusing to take responsibility for my behavior, etc. Okay. Again, I'd have to see that original article to know. The comment had all the markers of a bad faith argument. It was more of a personal attack than a conversation starter. I really need to look at her first article. I shouldn't have engaged, but I did. I engaged because Harold's response had a quasi-intellectual quality that just so happens to be extremely effective on me. Future trolls take note. Lady, have you paid attention to trolls in recent years? It's mostly quasi-intellectual nonsense. Having spent the majority of my life fighting to be taken seriously in academic and intellectual spaces, okay, I'm still learning that I have nothing to prove to people on the internet who like to call women uninformed, or in this case, profoundly unscientific, unquote. Was he talking to women, or was he talking to you?
Is that what he said?
Okay, this goes on for quite a while, but I am dying to know. There's a link to her first essay, and I know I'm going to be going over time a little bit, but I'm going to read a bit from her first essay. So we got her after party there, right? Here's the original. The original is called White Supremacy in Me. Okay. When I was in my senior year of high school, I argued against affirmative action. My AP history class had taken a field trip to Selma, and we'd spent the day wandering around drinking in the history of the small city. I was one of 2 black students in a class of 30. Ashley and I were bound at the hip until we went our separate ways in college. I wonder how she felt at that moment as she watched her light-skinned friend stand up on our school bus and give the worst possible answer to the impossible question our white teacher had just posed. Okay. The question was impossible for several reasons. What question? While we had discussed race in class, it was always historical, and because Obama was president, everyone was keen to claim that our country was post-racial. That particular sentiment had never felt true to me, but at the same time, I didn't have the information or support to challenge it. Your senior year of high school. Okay. Growing up, I spent a lot of time swallowing my words when it came to race. My childhood was spent navigating mostly white suburbs, learning in mostly white gifted classes, and going home to my white passing mother, who espoused racial blindness and bristled if I referred to myself as black. No, I was mixed. I was both. So in effect, I was neither. Being neither, I rarely felt entitled to an opinion. But on that bus back to Charlotte, North Carolina, when our teacher asked for the class's thoughts on affirmative action, the eyes of every white student were fixed on Ashley and me.
Have we read this?
I don't know.
It doesn't sound familiar to me.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know for certain why I chose to answer. I think it was a combination of my pathological aversion to uncomfortable silences and what I could see in the corner of my eye, which was the tense set of Ashley's shoulders as she gazed unblinking at her reflection in the window. She was looking hard into the glass like she wanted to will her body to the other side, away from this conversation. So I stood, jerking onto my feet, and declared that I thought people should get into college based purely on their merits as students and that race shouldn't factor in at all. Then I sat down feeling mildly queasy and decided I'd give Ashley's disappearing act a go for the next couple hours. I've spent a lot of time since then regretting that moment, resenting it too. I resent the fact that my white male teacher put the onus on 2 17-year-old girls to speak against their classmates on a cramped bus without supplying us with any of the information we would have needed to make an argument. We'd had quite a few discussions about race in that class, none of which drew a line between race and intergenerational poverty or the prison industrial complex or health inequities. No one had uttered anything about institutionalized racism, internalized biases, or intersectionality. Thank God. Those were the days, weren't they, folks? Mm-hmm. Now schools have gotten woke. These terms, once I encountered them in college, completely transformed my awareness, not only of myself, but everyone around me.
And that was the goal. They succeeded. You were successfully programmed. Good job.
Yes. For the first time, I looked at the world and saw it as it was, composed not of good people and bad people, but of systems within which we were all complicit. Systems which, once I became aware of them, I could work to change.
But how? All people are complicit in them. How can you, singular person, in a world where good and bad people don't exist, but only these systems sustained by the not good and bad people, how are you going to change that exactly?
It took college to convince me that personal merit is not the issue. Okay. With this cognizance came a sense of personal agency and duty. It also came with an overwhelming amount of guilt, which stemmed from the realization that I had done a lot of harm. How often at a new school had I gravitated towards white students in class instead of approaching black students by whom I felt intimidated without cause? How often did I let the racist remarks of popular white boys roll off my back because I felt so grateful they were paying attention to me at all? And my hair, ugh, my hair and its loose curls were always an uncomfortable subject of conversation. I loved the attention it gave me when praised. However, when a middle school friend ran his hands through the hair of every girl at our lunch table and declared mine the roughest, I was devastated. Yeah, okay. I am not going to read all of this stuff, but I will read the highlighted comment near the end, or the last, not even the end, the middle of it. In our society, proximity to whiteness has always been a currency. Own that fact. There's power in knowing where you sit within an unjust system. That's the first step to revolution. Now I see why people were writing her the notes they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, apologies. Didn't get to a lot of articles, but as I said, long-winded and curious all the same. Thank you guys so much for the articles. Again, apologies, but sometimes it's Frosted Glass's fault.
Usually
it's Frosted Glass's fault. But that being said, we'll move on to the wonderful world of YouTube time. I'll go first because I don't have much. I didn't do any YouTube stuff today except for what you're listening to now. Let's see. I have prepared the Halloween Eve thumbnail for the show on Friday. And there won't be a TEDx tomorrow because I've got work stuff that'll interfere with my usual timing. But on Thursday, I'll be doing a TED Excellence in tandem with Gino Marino, viewer and friend of the show. And then Saturday, I'll be doing the the Moon Civilization TED Talk. And then Sunday, usually I don't do TEDx's on Sunday, but Sunday is the best day for Tailed Feature to join me for us to discuss the decolonization of musical hierarchies.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either, but Tailed is the only musical expert that I know of, and he was a music teacher, so hopefully he'll have some insight as we proceed through decolonizing musical hierarchies. So that is the brunt of my YouTube-ness. Thank you, Natalie. I'm watching this stream on VR. How does that work? Do we have avatars? Like, is there something that represents the stream floating in VR?
No, you can just there's a YouTube app on VR, and depending on which app you're using, you can just like watch it. It'll be this big, gigantic screen floating in the ether, or there's some where you can like be on like a couch, a virtual couch or something, a movie theater or whatever.
Does that mean that Natalie could be watching it with like a whole bunch of other people on a virtual couch in a virtual living room?
Theoretically.
Oh, hello, all you digital bunny people, I'm assuming. Or maybe, do you know the way?
Do you know the way? That's so last year.
Last year? And then like 2018, 2017?
You're making us look bad.
Brother.
I made myself look bad. You didn't have to join in.
Brother, you make us look bad, brother.
This is the way. That's the Mandalorian one. This is the way.
We must inform the queen.
This is the way. All right. Well, with all that out of the way, Satsu, what have you been up to today?
Well, I did all the finishing touches on episode 2 of the series that I'm working on over on my gaming channel, and that has been uploaded to the channel. I made the thumbnail today, and that has also been uploaded. But I found out something awesome, super awesome. Apparently vidIQ doesn't work with YouTube anymore.
Uh-oh.
And this happened overnight, seemingly, because the last time I set up my stream, everything was fine. But now, no matter how much I refresh the page or uninstall and reinstall the what the fuck are they called? I don't know.
App.
I can't.
Oh, the plugin.
Yeah, the plugin. That's what I meant to say. Or whatever. Like, it will not come up. So all the preset stuff that I saved to set up my streams quickly, because I jump from game to game often, it's not accessible at all now. So that's going to be an extreme pain in the ass in the near future, because I'm going to have to manually go in and set up and put in the tags for everything that I do whenever I do it, which is awesome. I absolutely love the way that YouTube and OBS has been constantly and rapidly changing over time and making my job more difficult. It's actually pretty fucking sweet. Other than that, that's kind of it. I've just been working on that stuff behind the scenes. I finished the script for episode 3. That's already done. I just need to put the clips together, and then we'll do the finishing touches stuff, and then that one will be slated for the week after. And we were going to be playing a new game tonight. Well, that's still the plan. Monkey, you downloaded it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just making sure. A game called The Blackout Club. It looks pretty interesting. It's supposed to be a horror game, but I'm not sure exactly how that works out. It's a co-op game, though, so we're going to be testing that out, trying to play that a little bit and see how that works out. But I have to set everything up manually. So, yay. Super happy about that. But yeah, that's what I've been working on today.
All right, Monkey.
Let's see. As soon as we left the stream last night, I made a Tardy Tubbies shirt, and that's there's Tardy Tubbies shirts and mugs, and go pick one of those up for yourself. Then I did a Monkey in the morning, and then I did a game stream this afternoon, and now I'm here.
Tardy Tubbies.
Tardy Tubbies. Did you see the picture?
The one that they tagged?
Della Hayes?
Yeah, dude. I haven't even seen yours. I don't know what yours, but I saw that one. I was like,
Mine is just the words. And I was going to go back and make Tardy Tubbies later. But yeah, let me see if I can find that picture. I'm going to throw it into chat for people. It's awesome.
Okay. Well, then, on to the wonderful world of circuitry. Let's see. Do I have much of anything? Let's see. Ibram X. Kendi, the super genius author of How to Be Anti-Racist. He was not happy with the Supreme Court results today, or yesterday, I guess, technically. He a couple of tweets. His first tweet that I saw said, "The Republicans changed the rules and added their Supreme Court justices to secure the majority, and so why can't the Democrats change the rules and add their Supreme Court justices to secure the majority?" I said, ACB's otherwise quick confirmation was the result of rules changes made by Democrats regarding eliminating the judicial filibuster. Regardless, is that the lesson you really want to promote? Change the rules until I get the result I want? Because that's the thinking that put ACB in place. And he got a lot of flack for that tweet, and he came up with this quote-unquote clarification. When I say rules changes, what I mean, GOP not considering an election year nominee and 4 years later confirming an election year nominee, Democrats upping the number of justices, all of these changes are allowable under the Constitution, so if the GOP can, why can't the Dems?
But that negates his first narrative.
Well, I know. And I said, and if the Democrats currently had control of the Senate, do you think they would have countered the Republicans from 4 years ago by doing the right thing now, by moving ahead with ACB's nomination? It's the Senate's prerogative to move forward. It wasn't a rules change.
Yeah, it completely negates the first thing he said.
Yeah.
Both are totally legal. Then I don't get it. Nobody's changing the rules. Even if the Dems decided to pack the court, that wouldn't be a change of the rules. It's within their ability to do so.
Mm-hmm.
They'd just be being hypocrites based on whatever they claim their views are. But no rules are being changed, folks.
In another completely different subject, a tweet from, I don't know who this person is, Bruce Melman. He's somebody. Anyway, he posted this chart that showed the campaign ad spending by both campaigns between April 30th and October 27th. And between the two of them, Trump has spent, according to this estimate, $482,508,259, whereas Biden has spent $823,013,742. And he said, has an incumbent president ever been outspent on advertising by 70% before? And I said, I have no idea, but then I'm not sure there's ever been an incumbent president who has benefited more from earned media than Trump. So if you assess everything he isn't having to pay for in media exposure, how do the numbers look then? Because, I mean, all credit being what it is, Biden is not only fighting the Trump campaign spending, Biden is fighting the general media. So spending more on ads for his against the incumbent in this instance actually makes a lot of sense to me. But what do you guys think?
I think they're paying way too much attention to what's being spent.
Sure.
An incumbent president really should be able to underspend the other one. Mm-hmm. They have the name recognition and they are the incumbent, for fuck's sake. Wasn't Trump outspent last time?
Well, yeah. I mean, Clinton spent had a much larger war chest, spent way more money than Trump did. And, look at Beto, look at Bloomberg. Spending tons and tons of money does not a winner make inherently. So, sure, Biden spent a lot more money than Trump, the incumbent, but it means effectively nothing as far as I can tell. So I just thought that was an interesting little thing. It's like, has this ever happened before? Like, I don't know. But does it mean anything? Well, I don't know either. And then real quick, one of the comic book panels that was being talked about, the one that I saw today anyway, you have Hellcat, a lesser-known Marvel female hero, sitting next to Tony Stark, apparently, who is laid up in the hospital. He looks like he's got his neck in a brace, and he's all been beat up and stuff. And weekly, his voice is all weak. He says, "Hey, I've devoted my entire life to helping people. I'm Iron Man." And she says, "You mean you've given yourself more power than you already had, and you enjoy more legal leeway than most people on Earth, and you answer to absolutely no one?" And he says, "Well, when you put it like that, it sounds," and then she cuts him off by saying, "like you're another white guy with a God complex."
Yeah, I saw that.
Thanks, Marvel. Thank you so much, Marvel. Appreciate that. That's all that Tony Stark is or ever will be, because, thanks, Marvel. Other than that, I think that is all. Was that it? Cyberpunk 2077 was pushed back again for release.
Not shocking.
It won't be November 19th. It'll be December 10th now, and then after that, it'll probably be like January 30th or something. Who knows? I'm not crying over it. I mean, I'm looking forward to playing the game after it's been out for a while and has had about 5 or 6 patch cycles, and the bugs, as much as they are, worked out, and I can get it at a discount on Steam or something. Yeah. And there was something else that I did. Oh, yeah. So lastly, someone named Nathan Bernard, I don't know who he is, he tweeted this out. He says, Joe Rogan hosted far-right conspiracy theorist Alex Jones on his podcast today. They pushed anti-vax conspiracies and broadcasted banned InfoWars videos. Rogan continuing to platform these far-right sickos is incredibly gross and dangerous.
Uh-huh.
And then if you go to Nathan Bernard's Twitter profile, it says, Nathan Bernard, at Nathan T. Bernard, free speech activist. I just thought that was just adorable.
Maybe that was like sarcasm.
Yeah. Also, just because I just noticed this now, on my Twitter, I am 40 followers away from 2,000.
Cool.
And on my subscribers on my YouTube channel, I'm 200 or thereabouts subscribers away from 5,000. So I'm on the cusp of greatness, everyone. or something. Anyway, that's all I got. Satsu, what do you
got? Let's see. There was a Zach Hunt post today, which is one of the only blue checks I know that never gets like over 50 likes on anything he posts, which is kind of hilarious. But his tweet was, seeing some of the responses to Amy Coney Barrett's appointment have reminded me that conservative white guys have no idea what feminism is. And I just every time you tweet, it's comedy gold. I actually started to, for about a half second, try to decode this and immediately gave up. I was just like, you know what? No, I'm just going to respond in this way and keep it moving. Because I'm like, what could that even mean? I don't know. And I don't want to expend the mental energy to figure it out. So I didn't. There was a post that Kim Kardashian put up. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Oh, her birthday party or whatever it was.
After 2 weeks of multiple health screens and asking everyone to quarantine, I surprised my closest inner circle with a trip to a private island where we could pretend things are normal just for a brief moment of time.
Uh-huh.
Here's one of the first comments. Strip them of their wealth and redistribute it to those in need. No one needs this disgusting excess.
Mm.
And I retweeted that and said, strip this person of everything they own and redistribute it to people less fortunate than they are.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of shit? Just take everything that they have and give it to other people, because nobody deserves to earn stuff. Although it's arguable whether or not Kim Kardashian earned her fame.
Yeah, it was about this. Like,
But I mean, the bottom line is she got it.
Yeah, it's her money. If she wants to nuke it all, private island, fly everybody out. Do this. It's like, I mean, it is ridiculous excess, but then she's a Kardashian, so are we surprised?
And most importantly, she's maintained it, which is because anybody can get lucky. Well, maybe it could happen to anyone. Anybody could get lucky and get famous, but she's maintained it for quite a while. So, at the very least, once she got it, apparently she knew what the fuck to do with it. Regardless of any other criticisms you may have. And Ethan Klein was the one who shared it and was like, can you not? Like, not what exactly? Spend her money how the fuck she wants to with people who she made sure got quarantined and were fine to go and enjoy themselves, to get out of this hellscape for a while. I mean, and people are just like, it's not the fact that she did it. It's the fact that she threw it in everyone's faces on social media. And I'm just like, okay, I guess. But you could not be mad about it.
Yeah, you could also like ignore it and not give her what she wanted, which was attention. If that was your big, all you're doing is just doing exactly what she meant it to do. So,
yeah, stop being a little bitch. Jim Healy sent me a picture of a slice of watermelon with mustard on it and said, "You have to try this." And I said, "No, I don't." Like, I absolutely do not and will not. And what else? Oh, well, I put up a post earlier that says, why do I get the feeling that in about 20 years, we're going to have about 300 Supreme Court justices and both sides will constantly add more every 4 years. But every time the other side does it, it'll be treated as pure evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the conversation will reset every time. It'll just be like, those monsters are packing the court. Why would they do such a thing? And then the next year they do the same thing. And there's like, those monsters are packing the court. Why would they do such a thing? And lastly, there was a video of this girl, because these TikTok videos or whatever of very angry women have been popping up all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular one was really pissed off because she just learned that Barrett was being confirmed. And she said, how the fuck did I only find out about this by a 14-year-old on TikTok? And I'm
that's a good question.
That is a very good question.
Like, because you're stupid and misinformed? Like, what other answer is there that you would have expected to get other than the fact that you were so stupid and misinformed that you just don't know what's happening around you? Because who the fuck else's fault would that be? It's on every news fucking outlet out there. It's on all the social medias. Everybody's fucking talking about it. Where the fuck have you been is the question. You found out this shit from a 14-year-old on TikTok, so you only live... And people on TikTok, I'm sure, are fucking talking about it, too. So why you were just finding out, I don't know. But them glasses clearly ain't big enough. But yeah, that's on my fucking tree.
All right. Monkey, what do you got?
Oh, let's see here. At 8 o'clock when Tucker was on, apparently he had that. What's that guy's name? Bobolinsky?
Oh, yeah.
He's the one who supposedly ties Joe Biden to being the big guy. And Stephen Miller tweeted out, because there's a lot of people who tweeted about this interview. I haven't seen it yet. I have no opinion of it yet, but just going based on what was said here. So Bobolinsky sounds like he has an axe to grind against the Bidens, but he also sounds like he knows the details about what he's talking about. And I just thought, guys, if you're ever going to be in a criminal scheme, and I'm not saying Biden was, I'm just helping you out here. Make sure everybody gets paid what they're supposed to get paid. Because part of the allegation here is that he kind of got screwed out of his cut. And you may have heard this saying before, there's no honor among thieves. Because there's not. They will sell your ass out if you cheat them.
Yep.
If you're lucky, that's what they'll do. They have other methods as well. There was a great picture going around of these 4 fat chicks. One of them holding a sign that says "Gay Witches for Abortion." Okay. And the one actually has abortion written across her check or her chest, and the other one's wearing a shirt that says "Jesus Christ died for abortion rights." Shut up! You're gay. You don't need abortion. What are you doing with sperm anyway?
Hold on. One of those girls might have a female penis.
Well, then she ain't gonna need an abortion, is she?
No.
I mean, if you're aborting at the stage where it's coming out of a penis, I'm fairly certain that's not what it's called. That's just messing up your dick. Okay, so Joe Biden today tweeted out, "I know this country, I know our people, and I know we can unite and heal this nation." And I just said, "Quick, Joe, name the country." Because I don't think he could. And somebody called me ableist for that. Now, you can't call me ableist for that without admitting Joe Biden has a problem.
There you go.
Throwing that out there. Because the only way that's ableist is if he's, mentally deficient. I don't care about you, feel the guy's a moron. I'm so enjoying these people who don't want ACB to be called ACB.
All right.
One of whom says, "Please don't call her by her initials or some cute moniker. She's earned no respect." Now, this stems from an argument that ex-Bubba Hotep was having with this person, which stemmed from an article from The Hill. The Hill actually wrote an article today to tell us that Amy Coney Barrett is going to be using the same chambers as Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, my God.
The person who's replacing that person is using the same accommodations of the person they're replacing.
Real quick. Thank you, Keldrig. Jesus died for abortion rights. How does that work? Have these people read the Bible? Thank you, Keldrig.
They're just trying to be assholes and piss people off.
Oh, and thank you, James Colley. Spit it babies are a thing now.
Spit it babies.
Well, it's SP_IT babies are a thing now. So split babies? Or I'm assuming there's supposed to be another letter there, but I don't get the joke.
I'm wondering if you can't say spit in the chat.
Oh, I don't know.
There's a lot of things you can't say in Super Chat.
Oh, okay. If that's the case, then yeah, I don't know what the. I guess that's a loophole around it. I guess, but spit really is spit a verboten word. Just by the way, guys, just so you know, people who run YouTube channels, they have the option to put like, verboten words on their own channel. So like if it shows up in the chat, I don't have any words banned or anything. So if you're having difficulties posting something, it's all YouTube doing it.
But yeah, the Hill thinks it's a big deal that ACB will be replacing Ruth. I don't understand why that was news at all. For the life of me, I can't understand why that was a story.
Yeah, I don't either.
The headline tells everything that's worth knowing.
Ooh, some people were like, wow, they have no respect. How disgusting. That person residing in the same place that she did. And I'm just like, what?
I'd have moved Kavanaugh to her office. This one was weird. So I told you guys yesterday about me asking Nancy Pelosi how empty her bottle was while she was having her little fit on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody just replied to it with a joking, she'll feel better tomorrow kind of thing. And this other person randomly goes, and the GOP will get blowjobs.
What? Really? Man, I need to join the GOP.
I'm about to sign up.
Thank you, Pincalo. About 15,000 words are on the Super Chat ban list. Really?
I believe it.
I mean, I believe it. That's still a lot of words, but okay. Thank you, Pincalo.
Now, I actually had to go look and see if this person was a Republican or a Democrat, whether they were trying to recruit people or they were trying to say this as an insult.
Yeah.
They were saying it as an insult.
Oh, okay.
So apparently we're going to get blowjobs if we go sign up with the GOP, guys. And I feel like that is the best, training or recruitment strategy there could be. You're going to have to tell me how many blowjobs I get and who's giving them, though. This one's actually from last night. And CNN tweeted this out. Model Emily Ratajkowski, I don't know how to say her fucking name, is announced her pregnancy with a personal essay exploring questions of her unborn child's gender and identity. Quote,
oh, God.
We won't know the gender until our child is 18 and that they'll tell us. Sorry, I'm reading it as written. And that they'll tell us no then.
So
they're not going to know the child's gender until the kid's 18 and the kid tells them.
Yeah. So, okay. So, all right.
Yeah, there's a lot to go. What about that whole
that's a lot to unpack right there. Yeah.
What happens if the kid's 16 and they're like, no, I don't want to hear that you're a girl. Sorry, you need to wait. Isn't that denying them?
Denying agency?
Yeah, that's what I got.
It's like, Mom, I think my period started. Impossible. You don't have a gender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's it.
All right. Well, then, with that, we're at the bottom of the hour, which means it's your time, chat. If you have questions, comments, complaints, concerns, conspiracy theories, if you have theories on Moonbase, sure, why not? Put them in the chat now. If you have questions for us directly, please put plenty of chat marks after those so we know it's for us. If you have statements for us to consider, please put plenty of statement marks after those. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Mata Winter, oh lords, would you all try some creme brulee French toast? A portion of hash browns with finely diced chicken in it, and a Batmobile collector's mug of lime vodka.
Do I get to keep the mug?
I say yes.
Then yeah, I'll try it. I'm not eating all that shit, but I'll try it.
Yeah, nothing individually or collectively about that sounds absolutely terrible. All I'm not quite sure about the lime vodka straight, because vodka is it's kind of a rough breakfast. I mean, that all sounds like breakfast.
Vodka with their breakfast. What are we, Russian?
Yeah, I know, right? How about you, Satsu?
I'll try it.
Caramon, will they make the kid free bleed?
Beats the hell out of me. Ugh. I didn't read the article, just the headline. That was enough for me. I know where that's going.
Pincalo, they won't know until the kid is 18 because they have to wait for the suicide autopsy. That kid is going to be bullied off a bridge. Oh, let's hope not. Let's just hope not. Professor Naps, why are magicians so gay? I mean, magicians in the 80s certainly didn't do themselves any favors, like David Copperfield and his big hair and half-open shirt and everything.
Yeah.
If you understood the secrets of magic, you'd be happy too.
There you go. Yeah, and then you had Siegfried and Roy. I mean, it depends on the magician. There are plenty of magicians who don't do that, I guess. But, I mean, they're all showmen in one way or another, or show women, as the case may be. So, oh.
Ain't no show women. Nobody's watching that shit from girls.
I know. Tack Alpaca, what is your first go-to in rock, paper, scissors? Scissors.
Depends on who I'm playing against. It's on them and what I think they'll do.
Satsu.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
What is your first go-to in rock, paper, scissors?
I don't know. When the last time I fucking played rock, paper, scissors? I don't know. Shit.
Now that I've said that, am I telling the truth or am I lying? Check your logic. Would you also watch that? Oh, sorry. Watch What If's video on what if we built cities on the moon? Like on a stream? I don't know. If I remember correctly, What Ifs use a lot of music in their stuff, and I'm always very wary of music. That's why the TEDx's I always chop off the beginning and the ends, because they always have that opening intro music stuff.
Yeah,
I'm very, very cautious about playing any music that I don't know is safe. So
yeah, most of the time you just get that little "they're going to get your money" shit. But I don't want to be the one time where it's like, "Oh shit, they want to strike."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then chat jumped. Lords of the Night, doing anything special for election night? Well, it's funny that you asked that because it ends up on my channel that night. And I'll probably be starting, let's see, 6, let's see, what is 8, 5? I might be starting early that night just to start seeing the election results start rolling in, because polls usually close around, 8 p.m. Eastern time?
Yeah, it's 8 in most places.
Okay, so yeah, we might have a longer stream that night. I mean, I'll be starting probably about half. I mean, we'll probably do the same kind of thing, or at least I plan on doing the same kind of thing we did for the debates. Start about half an hour early. We might go later into the night to see how the West Coast does, since they close up, or they start coming in around 8 o'clock, which is usually when we're ending the show. So I'm planning on a relatively long show that night. My only sort of rough idea is that the various members of us and whatever guests we have on and everything, we'll just be keeping tabs on different broadcasts of election results as they come in, and see if there's anything goofy going on with reactions from Fox News and or MSNBC, and especially the Young Turks, depending on how things swing. So just a longer show, I guess, and maybe a looser format, since we'll just be sort of talking most of the night about what's going on with the election. Let's see. Karamon, Monk, you gonna cover Vosh's interview by Dim Tool tonight?
I didn't see it. I don't know what we're talking about.
Nico asked what's the schedule for next Tuesday. So yeah, tentatively starting the show at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. And beyond that, just seeing what happens. Let's see. Frosted Glass Scribe, would you live on a moon base if you had to have that Ted Ed principal as your boss? Oh, God. Is there an airlock nearby? Then maybe. I mean, I'm being facetious, obviously, maybe. But, I mean, good, that guy. If you guys haven't watched that, Monkey Satsu, that guy is something else. I'll tell you what. Devil Fruit Zero Scribe Light, did you follow that tweet line on that Iron Man panel? Apparently it led to Captain Marvel shrugging off the pen and stare. Oh, I didn't see that, no. Did you need a soul for that to work? Yes, you do, technically, I believe. I believe there are few people in the Marvel Universe, like regular soul-carrying creatures, who have been immune to the penance stare. Usually they are children because they're just innocents.
Because they have no soul.
Well, only if they're redheaded. And some very specific superheroes, like I think Captain America is one of the few that really didn't have a reaction to it. If at one time, I can't remember if that happened, but I know there was a thing where the Punisher got the penance stare by Ghost Rider one time, and Ghost Rider saw, all the shit that the Punisher did. And the only thing, if I remember, I forget what story it was. God, I remember. Anyway, but the Ghost Rider saw all of this shit the Punisher did, and the Punisher didn't have any reaction. And the Ghost Rider's like, "What the hell?" And Punisher's like, "I don't feel guilty for things that I've done right," something like that. And the only thing he felt bad about was the death of his family, but he never stops feeling bad about that. So the penance stare didn't bring up anything he wasn't already dealing with. And that kind of freaked Ghost Rider out, which was pretty cool.
Oh my God.
Let's see, Evil Jonathan Scribe, do you drink anything other than any other soft drink than Dr. Pepper? I'll occasionally have a Coca-Cola, I guess. But generally no. I mean, if I go to a place like a restaurant or something and all they have is like Pepsi, I'll break down and have Pepsi. If I feel like having a soft drink at all or something. But otherwise, if I have the option, I go for Dr. Pepper. If not, then Coke. And most places have Coke. Let's see. Evil Jonathan also asks, Satsu, how is Squishy?
She's good, but there's a bunch of stuff going on at work for her, so she's been a little stressed out. They got her working significantly more hours than she was before, and she only has like 1 day off a week, and that's great for money and stuff, but it's like a whole bunch of stuff going on, just drama, and she often comes home pretty annoyed, so I have to give her extra cuddles so she could and usually that solves it because she's very, very easy to please, but she's doing good otherwise, just been a bit stressed out because of work.
Professor Naps, oh lords, are you relieved the political ads will be over in a week? Well, I never see them because A, I don't watch TV, and B, I've got ad block. So, ta-da!
I don't think they'll be over.
They won't, and I don't mind them all that much, to be honest.
Pyrus Creed, thinking back to 2016, do you think that maybe the polls were actually correct and that Hillary was so overconfident she caused too many people to get sad before they actually cast the vote?
Yeah.
If by sad you mean complacent, then possibly so. At the same time, though, she won the popular vote. So more people ended up voting for her, just not in the places and in the proportions necessary to win the electoral. So,
Hey, Scribe, can you see that picture I'm sharing without sharing it with everybody? Or do you have to share it?
I mean, I can see the tiny little thumbnail of it.
Oh, you can't see that. Well, you can share it if you want. I just scrolled past this, and I don't know why, but it is extremely funny to me.
That is bizarre. What the
hell? God damn it!
What the?
Wow!
I really hope that's his real hand,
dude.
I just really hope that's his real hand for some reason.
That's amazing.
Oh shit!
Or that is a very, very disturbing mental. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Oh man, that is hilarious.
Baby hand is weird. He seems like a Dick Tracy villain or something that's like Baby Hand McGee or something. Formerly Rod Line. Oh, Lords of the Night. What the fuck is with water on the moon? There's water molecules on the moon because ice is a common element in things that impact on planetoids, and there's water on the moon. And conceivably, it could be harvested and used for, well, obviously for possible agriculture of a kind, depending on how much water they get off of the thing, or more likely for rocket fuel and making fuel to power things and so on. So that's what's up with that. Green Death, isn't it canon that Deadpool can take a penance stare, or is that a headcanon? If it's canon, I never saw the story. I believe it because Deadpool kind of exists as a inside joke for everything, so I'm sure he could. Frosted Glass, doesn't the penance stare also require personality? Is that why Carol Danvers is immune? I mean, the modern Carol Danvers, I couldn't say. Old school classic Carol Danvers was pretty cool. I don't know what they've done to her in recent years, but I can imagine, given the movie and such. Are you just going through your Twitter feed now, Satsu?
No, I'm actually scrolling through Facebook.
Okay. Because I thought I saw some pictures from like Ask Club Daily in there somewhere.
Oh, no. You trust me. I wouldn't be scrolling past them this fast if I was on that.
Okay. All right.
I got to take some time to appreciate that.
Yeah, booty.
Booty. Evil Jonathan, Scribe Light, will you stream until Alaska and Hawaii get done with their election result? No. I still have to work the next morning, conceivably. So I'll probably stay up later than I usually do. I mean, after the show, I may be awake for another hour and a half on a regular night before I start nodding off completely. No, I'm not going to go all night. Well, and besides which, a lot of the official results won't be ready for days after the fact anyway. We might get a rough idea in a lot of states and get overall predictions. But there'll probably be several states that the news agencies and such are not going to be willing to call for sure that first night. So, yeah, we'll see what we get.
Just ask you if you were going to stream for a week.
Was if I was being really a jerk about it, I was going to say, I'm not going to be online for 6 days. No. Let's see. Mono Winter. So, Scribe, when you be joining Sassy and Monk in the Ghost Hunt game? Not anytime soon, because they play after I'm getting ready to hit the old hay, and the rest of my body usually thinks it's that time to go, even on a Friday night. So, and truth be told, guys, I'm not. I don't have anything against Monkey or Satsu playing games with them or something. I just playing multiplayer games online has never really been appealing to me.
You don't like us.
Well, I mean, there's that too, sort of. But I mean, it just has never really interested me. I'm much more of a single player game kind of guy. I'm not 100% against it. I've done it in the past, but it doesn't really appeal to me all that much. And horror games especially, it's like I own Dead Space. I've never played it because I got through like 15 minutes of it, and I was just like, I don't want to do this. Thing's jumping out the dark at me. I hate that. So, not my cup of tea. Check your logic. Would Wolverine be able to take on a penance stare? Take it on? I mean, yeah. Would it not do him harm? I think it would, because he's done a lot of shit and feels a lot of guilt, and I don't know if it would break through the brainwashing that made him lose his memories, however many times that's happened now, but who knows? Let's see. Devil Fruit Zero, Scribe Light, is celery an abomination to all that is edible? No. If used correctly, I think all by itself. I mean, I know a lot of people that like, taking celery stalks and dipping them in peanut butter, and that tastes okay for some people.
I love celery. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm not one of these celery and peanut butter people. I have been told that I need to work celery into my life more because it takes more to digest it than it does actually leaves in your system or whatever. So it's a good weight loss food. Eating it raw isn't exactly appealing to me, but having it with other things or in soups and stuff is perfectly fine.
Eat celery while you're drinking, guys. It'll help keep you hydrated.
Brutus, oh lords, is it racist if I own German relics from World War II? I've been getting a lot of crap. I guess it depends on why you're owning them, or I don't know. Is it in celebration of it, or are you just being a historian? Do you have relics from all sorts of sides in World War II, or are you just looking for the German stuff? Because then,
you did.
Yeah. What are you doing with it? Are you dressing up or something? Let's see. Caramon says, I'm a single-player gamer too, Scribe. No. Midnight Exile says, I hate co-op plays. Phasmophobia is awesome. Oh, okay. Well, I know. I've watched them play Phasmophobia. It's fun to watch. I just don't know that I'd enjoy playing along is all. Let's see. I remember the way back in the olden days, I used to have fun watching multiplayer matches of Return to Castle Wolfenstein because it was like watching football at the time. It was like watching a real sport. These different teams like trying to defeat the maps and being able to sort of fly over the battlefield in spectator mode and everything. I thought that was great. That's the old days, though. Let's see. Motto Winter. Oh, Lords, why do you and Monk not allow Satsu to sing? That's the loudest. He doesn't want to sing.
That's his choice.
It's my prerogative.
Matt.
Do what you want to do.
My mom loved that song.
That's a great song, man.
She be jamming to that shit.
Tack Alpaca. Per the thumbnail, how are you with heights? I'm kind of weird about heights. Like, I don't generally have a problem with looking down from a great height. For some reason, I have a real instinctual, like, cringe fest if I try to look up from a great height. Does anybody understand what that?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, there's just something about that. Like, you'd think it'd be the opposite. Like, well, who cares when you're just looking up at the sky? Like, if you're standing on the ground, something about looking up. If I'm standing on regular Earth, like on the sidewalk, I'm looking up at the sky, no big deal, nothing. But if I'm on top of a building or something, it's just my body does like this whole cringe thing if I try to look up and I'm on a great. I don't know what it is. Something about that just it's some lizard brain instinct stuff, and that's what happens to me.
The way I rationalized it, because I noticed that was a thing that happened with me, is because of my concern about falling off and the fact that I can't see where I am when I'm looking up. You know what I mean? I don't know how close I am to the edge. I don't know if, the fucking ground is crumbling up under me. I don't know. So it's like the fear of falling off intensifies when you know you're high and can't see where you're standing. At least that's how I rationalized it. I'm like, yeah, that must be it because no, no, thank you.
Yeah, I remember I went on a school trip at one time to New York City, and we went to the top of the Empire State Building, right? And I mean, it was surrounded by. There's no way you can just like fall off the Empire State Building, right? There's just barriers and hooks and all types of stuff. So even with the knowledge that I was as secure standing there as I was if I was standing on the sidewalk, still. Just the act of like looking up suddenly, like my whole body like kind of starts to compress, and I was like, it's bizarre. Pincalo, did you get my last super chat?
What was it?
I did, but somehow it probably jumped between questions. Sorry, Pincalo. What will happen if Trump wins popular and electoral?
Oh God!
People's heads will explode all over the country.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. The foundation of America will literally collapse.
So first off, the accusations of cheating, rigging, voter suppression, something, whatever going on will be there for the next 4 years. And yeah, it'll be absolute and total chaos. I imagine we'll have 4 more years of the Democrats finding every reason except for themselves for their failures again. So just imagine the last 4 years, but turned up a couple extra notches. Plus the fact knowing that there's no way to stop Trump because he'll be on. You can't vote him out of office since this will be his last term until he goes for his third. Or whatever, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's going to be a Trump popular vote and electoral vote. I'm still, and admittedly, I was in the same spot 4 years ago. I think it's going to be close, but I think Biden is going to win. That's it. So who knows? As in, it'll be close. Popular vote wise, but not electorally. if that makes sense. But I was completely wrong the last time too, so take that for what it's worth. And I'll admit that, unlike certain Harry Entons of the world. Keeverdam breaking: protesters in Brooklyn are targeting cops. I am sadly not surprised.
Not shocking at all, unfortunately.
I'm seeing footage coming out of Philadelphia and everything of Walmarts and stuff just being completely ransacked. So I'm not even surprised.
Yeah, I feel like the police should just abolish itself at this point. There's no reason to be a cop.
Well, did you see all the? I saw this come across because now that I paid attention to Chop so much, I get like tweets and things from like the newspapers in that area. They're talking about how many cops have quit in the last 4 months or something, and how in all their exit interviews they're saying they're asked like, what was the worst part of your time here or something, and it's like this socialist Marxist city council driving us to the brink of destruction. I'm like, fuck.
Like, right.
And like, yeah, I mean, given what we saw this summer, I don't blame them. And they're like, I'm not gonna. It's like, would you come back to be a police officer in Seattle or whatever again? And they're like, only if there's a major shift in leadership. Because no, I won't. I feel sad for all the people that are going to have to deal with whatever the city council does next. But I can't do this job anymore and feel at all like I've got the backs of the administration, or the administration's got my back. So it's like, okay. Let's see. Jack Gunsky, Scribe Light, how will election night affect Quippers United next week and tonight after the stream? Well, I presume it'll eat into your showtime. That's all I can imagine. So there you go. Let's see. Make sure the chat didn't jump past somebody else's super chat or anything. Skeptalk, what is your favorite type of classical art if you have one? Oh, classical art.
Oh, yeah, I don't have any.
I mean, tell me like painting art or just art in general, because classical art. I mean, I guess it would just come down to classical music if there was like one, because that's one thing that I hear a lot and I don't mind much, I suppose. I don't like seek it out, but if there's one style of classical art that I get exposed to more often than not, it's probably like, music.
Yeah, if you're adding music into classical art, then sure. But if you're talking about paintings and shit, I could not give a damn less. Sorry.
Well, I mean, obviously my favorite is Caspar David Friedrich. He's my favorite artist of the classical period. So, I don't know if that's actually the classical period. He might be actually quite a distance after that, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm biased. Satsu, do you have a classical preference?
No, not really.
Okay. Let's see. Evil Jonathan, favorite Godzilla film? Godzilla 1986. That was the first Godzilla movie I ever saw as a kid, so it's my favorite. I think I've only seen it the one time, so I can't say I'm an expert on it, but yeah, Godzilla 86.
I would have a hard time remembering which one was which. I know I've seen a few of them, but don't fucking ask me which one. Which I can't differentiate any of them. So,
Monkey.
The only one that I saw was the one with was it Matthew Broderick?
Oh God, that got
yeah. So I've seen other ones, but I don't know them by name. I was a kid when I was watching them, and I just like the campiness of all of them that I've seen until we made them, modernized. I like the guy in the big rubber suit.
Prospero says Friedrich is of the Romantic period. Scribe, well, I apologize. So am I, by the way. Brutus, Scribelight, I have faith that Biden will lose, sir. Early voting is favoring Trump, and even if Biden does win, the left still doesn't have the Senate or SCOTUS. Senate's...
They might.
Yeah, the Senate is up for grabs. Might not want to admit it. It is. I mean, I can't say outcomes, obviously, but it's not as surefire bet as you might think. Supreme Court, the Supreme Court is set for the long haul, barring anything changing or something, or court stacking. But I have a notion that Biden is going to win. That's not a firm, fast prediction. I don't have any way to back that up with like the polls and such and so forth. Just the vibe that I'm getting from the vibe I'm getting from the reporting I'm seeing and the polls that I have been paying attention to leads me to that conclusion. Now, I am happy to be wrong. But here's the thing: if Trump wins, and again, I've already voted, and I wrote my dad's name in on the presidential thing and filled that in. So I didn't vote for either one. But so my perspective on this at this point is, what will be more? I can only be cynical and say which outcome would be more entertaining to me. Short-term instant gratification entertainment, Trump winning, because everybody's heads will explode again. And that'll be hilarious. That'll be schadenfreude just like it was last time, and it'll be hilarious. Long-term, it's going to be 4 more years of the same kind of slogging and dredging our way through the same nonsense and drama that we've been going through the last 4 years. If Biden wins, the schadenfreude will be long-term in the sense that now everything falls upon the Democrats' shoulders, and watch as they don't get anything done again, basically. There's going to be so much infighting amongst the party if Biden wins versus what they thought they were voting for as an anti-Trump versus what they're going to get with what Biden actually is all about. And God forbid if Harris becomes president, but that's a whole other just like Pandora's box just waiting to pop open. So either way, there'll be a cynical level of morbid entertainment for me. I'm not going to be happy either way, but yeah, in the short term, Trump winning would be fucking hilarious. But anyway, let's see, just a couple minutes left. Motto Winter. So Scribe is on his period.
What?
Mata, you have some very strange food choices now. Resolute Germ says that's not Godzilla, monkey. Yeah, that movie was definitely not. It was called Godzilla.
Look, it was called. That was the name.
Yeah, it's true. That was the name.
It.
That was the name. Let's see. Check your logic. Joe Biden was there when Pandora's box first became a story. 180 years in the Senate.
He was there when it was open.
Yeah, true too. I think he was one of the things that escaped from it. Kiever Dam, 4 more years. Yeah, pretty much. Shadow Sonata, shill Article 25 Biden for dementia or hit him with a Me Too avalanche of women and children accusing him. Well, she can't do that all on her lonesome. 25th Amendment has to be, I think, what is the minimum, like the cabinet has to decide right now? It's the current rule.
It ends up going through. They'd have to have the cabinet, and then he would get a chance to answer back, and then it goes back and forth, and then gets settled by the Congress. So
right. Motto would describe light. You said you were also a romantic period.
Oh.
I said I was of the romantic period. Well, okay, whatever. Caramon Major. He skipped my church lady comment. Okay, just to let you know, I don't usually skip things. Chat jumps. And if I miss something, really, it's a matter of just repost it.
Well, they said comment, not question, so.
I know, but still. Magister, favorite Jim Henson film? Ooh. I mean, sentimentality speaking, probably Labyrinth.
One of the Muppet movies.
Yeah, the Muppet movies are just great all by themselves. But I guess the one that I watched the most when I was growing up and had the most meaning to me was probably Labyrinth. I only saw Dark Crystal one time as a kid. I barely remember that. Everybody talks about how great it is, and I don't deny it. I mean, it was a real feat of artistry at the time and everything. I think I saw the behind-the-scenes making of more than I saw the actual movie. But yeah, probably Labyrinth. I'm guessing. Yeah. Muppets Take Manhattan was great.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, between those two, I suppose. Check your logic. Am I the only one worried about Trump winning because of what happens to him in the Simpsons episode on top of Tecumseh's curse? I don't remember what happens in that episode, so... And Pyrus Creed, is it worth it to buy the first 2 Baldur's Gate games if you've never played them before?
Yes, absolutely.
How do they... I mean, are they... I mean, the controls have to be archaic as hell today compared to back then, of course. Are they still...
Not really. It's isometric. It's click on the ground and the character follows where you're going. Pretty standard, actually. And yeah, it's a great story. They're both fun.
I think you can get them both on... I don't know if they're on Steam, but I think they're on Good Old Games.
They are on Steam, and get the enhanced versions. The other ones are playable, but you're going to want the enhanced versions.
All right. There's probably a bundle deal you can get on those, or wait for a sale. Winter sale's coming up, guys, in just like a little bit over a month. So if you're planning on buying any games on Steam, I'd recommend just holding off a bit, because once the winter sale hits, a whole lot of things are going to go down real quick. But with that, guys, we're at the top of the hour, and thus the end of the show. Remember, tomorrow night, per usual, will be on Monkey's channel at the regular time. After this, over on Jack Gunsky's channel, you can conceivably go watch him play Jackbox games, or Crippers United, or whatever, if you want to. You guys are doing a game after this, are you not?
Yeah.
Over on 2 Cents Plus, you can watch Monkey and Satsu play. What is it? Is it a new game?
No, I think it's been out for a little bit. It's called the Blackout Club.
Blackout Club.
Horror co-op game of some kind.
Yeah.
All right, so you go watch that. No TEDx or anything tomorrow for me. I'll be doing that again on Thursday with guest Gino Marino. Otherwise, I think that's all the big stuff. Anything else to mention before we go, guys?
Nothing that comes to mind.
All right. Well, chat, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for your generosity. Really do appreciate it. Moderators, thank you so much for keeping an eye on things, even though all of you are so well behaved. Moderators have very little to do, which is great. Monkey, Satsu, thank you for joining me as always.
Indeed.
Everyone, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye guys.
And getting out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism. Today's secret word is gently.
Oh.
Gently. It continues. Gently and slowly, pushing some of the boundaries of your scenes.
Aye.
Mm-hmm.